Hello there, everybody. This is King Mac, your friendly hamburger pal. Welcome to this feature presentation on YouTube. Be sure to enjoy a hot, fresh cheeseburger along with some delicious golden French fries, a tasty milkshake, and a nice soft drink. Thank you all for watching, and now sit back and relax and enjoy as Tony here brings you our feature presentation of TTBurger game reviews.
What's going on, my friends? This is Tony, aka TTBurger 8, and boo boo back to you. And welcome to another episode of TTBurger Game Reviews. Let me rephrase that. Another episode of TTBurger Remastered Game Reviews. Look at my remastered Resident Evil series review. We're in episode 7, part 5 of 7 parts. Before I get started here, I want to give a shout out to Freegan HD, Sub-Zero, Kevin X for King Mac, along with the Hyperlania, Prickles Go Stateside, Black Healer, Meg, along with Homie RJ, Red Hood Assassin, Alkajira, Rockstar Pool 69, The Sensational Gent, Paul Gaming, and more and more and more. And to thank you for everyone who has supported this channel these last 6 years, because this channel wouldn't be as big as it is today if it weren't for the support of you guys here. Before we continue with you here, we're going to be diving into the next gen era of Resident Evil stuff. This game was first released on the Dreamcast, and then ported to the PlayStation 2 and Nintendo GameCube, and then the HD remaster version started on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 6 did that. Before we get started here, let's head down to Seattle. Let's check out how our friend Jackalburger is doing. He was going a little nutso last time, being obsessed over Jill Valentine stuff, but I'm sure he's calm by now. Hey Jack, what's shaking bacon style? You ready for some more Resident Evil action?
Hey my man, I am ready for more Resident Evil action. For so today, we go to Rockford Island today in Resident Evil Code Veronica X from what I hear. So what are we waiting for? Get to it, Tony. There may be no Jill, but we do have Claire Redfield.
That's right, we don't have Jill this time, but we do have Claire Redfield, the second best character, in my opinion, of the Resident Evil franchise. And you know that like it is time for that, but we can't get to the next review. We have to do a little recap, show everyone what they missed and stuff in case they missed it.
I know. I just get anxious at times, especially with the games that I was doing, clearing it. So get to the recap, Tony.
No worries, Jack. It's all good. Here's a TTBurger recap for you all to show you all what you missed. That took like Resident Evil 3 Nemesis for the PlayStation, gave it a perfect 10 out of 10 because it was perfect in so many ways. Except for there were some minor problems I had with it, like some of the voice acting, and the fact that a lot of the buildings have like doors exclusive to them, either blow up or on fire and stuff and everything. And it's still a fantastic game, just a little minor problem, but I'm not gonna take any points off of that. But now we're gonna zoom ahead to the PlayStation 2 era. This was like when it wasn't even a year when the PlayStation 2 was out, and we got this port of a Dreamcast game. It was called Resident Evil Code Veronica, but we got the game right here. This is Resident Evil Code Veronica X, first released on the Dreamcast, then ported to the PlayStation 2, Nintendo GameCube, and then it was in HD remaster instead of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. First released on Dreamcast February 29th, 2000, then August 21st, 2001 on PlayStation 2, 2 months before my 13th birthday. Then December 3rd, 2003 for the Nintendo GameCube, and then September 27th, 2011 for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 as Resident Evil Code Veronica X HD. We're looking at the PlayStation 2 version, the orange version half, and if you own the Black Label version, it comes with a playable demo of Devil May Cry. If you own the Greatest Hits version, you don't even get that, but that's kind of topic there, but let's get started. Resident Evil Code Veronica X is a great Resident Evil game, and a lot of people consider it to be one of the best or the best Resident Evil games next to Resident Evil 2. Sure, it's not the best Resident Evil game due to some problems I have with it, and there are some problems I do have that do better than a perfect score and stuff, but it's still fun to be happy for sure, and this should not be able to, especially if you want Resident Evil on the next gen. Resident Evil Code Veronica started off on the Sega Dreamcast, and people were in awe and impressed on how great the game looked due to the technology of the Dreamcast, and at the time, this was the only way to play the game, because this game was not on the PlayStation, and I can see why it was not on the PlayStation, because the game was made to run on the Dreamcast, and the PlayStation was not up to par with the technology and stuff. But then when the PlayStation 2 came out, we got Resident Evil Code Veronica X. It's basically the same game with some slight modifications to the graphics and some new cutscene stuff and like some new features and stuff that are not in the original Dreamcast version, and including the demo of Devil May Cry if you haven't had the original Black Label version. Resident Evil Code Veronica X takes place 3 months after Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Raccoon City was destroyed after Mayor Warren and the government nuked it as a way to stop the spread of the T-virus, and only a few people escaped and survived, like Claire Redfield, Jill Valentine and stuff, and Claire arrives in Europe to search for her brother Chris Redfield, as he is known to be there to take down Umbrella's headquarters with Jill Valentine. Claire was then captured and taken to Rockford Island, where there was a zombie outbreak of the T-virus, and surprise, the base that she's at belongs to Umbrella Incorporated. Not only that, this island is also run by the Ashford family, meaning by Alexander Ashford, one of the founders of Umbrella Incorporated. His grandson Alfred Ashford is in charge of everything now, while his twin sister Alexia is in crown sleep, and the Ashford family is insane and crazy, not with it all together, and they're crazy. Claire is also joined by 17-year-old Steve Burnside, who was a prisoner who looks somewhat like Leon S. Kennedy, but not quite. And Steve is here because his family legally was killed. He was taken a prisoner here and stuff. There's more to his backstory. And the two have planned to get off of Rockford Island, escape via airplane at an airport, and Claire is also trying to find Chris. And along the way, we find out who's behind the attack of Rockford Island. None other than Albert Wesker himself, who is still alive. Claire and Steve then find themselves in the Antarctic after the plane they're flying and crashes and stuff like that, and like they are then captured. And then the second half of the game you play as Chris Redfield, who's also looking for Claire, and you go back to the beginning of the game with some changes, of course, like after the island blew up and stuff and everything. Some spoilers there, I know, and I'm sorry. There's more to the story, but I can't go say anymore because I do not want to spoil it for people who haven't played the game yet. The story is great, and there's also some extra scenes here to make the story even better. Sure, some people didn't like these extra scenes, but I feel like that, hey, you have an enhanced version, why not add more to it? The presentation of Resident Evil Code Veronica X is good, but not the best looking. Sure, the character models look better, they have more detail to them in the faces and stuff and everything, and they look better than on the PlayStation, and the enemy models too and stuff. They have tons of enemies. You have bats, the giant spiders again. You got like these slugs, these like creatures who like to grab you and toss you around and stuff like you're some type of doll, so that's like have tentacles or so. And you got the Cerberus dog, you got the zombies, naked zombies and stuff, and you know, there's a big variety of them. And environments are crisp. This time we have full 3D backgrounds and stuff, and they look good, but the camera kind of moves around a little bit and stuff, trying to like keep it up there and stuff. The main problem with the presentation is the lighting. It is very, very dark, where it's hard to see anything, especially on a flat screen TV. The PlayStation 2 version suffers the worst with the lighting, and this seems to be a type of fogging in the lighting too. And it is everywhere, even indoors. So if you want to play this on a modern TV, you'll be messing around with your brightness constantly, because it is very, very dark. And you have a lighter that you can use as like a flashlight, but if you use it, you can't really use your weapon. So it would have been nice if you had a flashlight or so, but that's just me. The CG cutscenes look fantastic and almost realistic, and the Dorothy's are here once again. And sure, they may be a little bit longer, but they still look great. There's cool ass fire and water effects, and there's a lot of fire and water effects everywhere in this, and they have improved a lot definitely with the weather effects and stuff. Taking advantage of the next gen hardware for sure. The frame rate is once again very smooth. Didn't notice any dips in it at all. Resident Evil Code Veronica X's sound is also great, but not as great as Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. The voice acting, while there are some good actors here like Alison Court, who once again voices Claire Redfield, and Richard Waugh voices Albert Wesker and stuff, a lot of the actors just sound way too over the top and whiny, especially Steve and Alfred. They sound like they are just poking it up and hamming it up and stuff, and it just does not really look the best. Like, when you hear them whine, you just want to shut them up or just plug your ears. The music is great though. I definitely like the music, especially the save room theme and stuff, and like the military base theme and stuff too. It sounds really good. The door sounds sound very realistic at this time, and it was cutting edge and stuff definitely. The gameplay in Resident Evil Code Veronica X is great for the most part. We have here a next gen Resident Evil game where you solve puzzles, look for keys and items, and more advanced in the game, and mainly to survive. You play as Claire Redfield in the first half of the game, and then the second half you play as Chris Redfield. So kind of like brother, like sister. But it would have been cool if they had like their own stories and stuff. But I can see what they did here because it's the one big story. The game here is long. It'll take you about 12 hours to beat, maybe longer. You have tons of weapons this time, and you have your handgun, your bowgun, your shotgun, grenade launcher, assault rifle, and more. You also have puzzles to solve, which are more challenging than last time, so be sure you read the files to find out how to solve the puzzles. They will be helpful. Your lighter is your best friend. You'll need it in dark areas, but you can't equip any weapons with the lighter in your hand. You not only play as Claire and Chris Redfield, but you also play as Steve Burnside for a little bit as well, and Claire's part of the game. Capcom knew what they wanted to do for the next generation of gaming for Resident Evil. They wanted to make it bigger and better and scarier, and they pulled off quite well, frankly. When this game was on the Dreamcast, it was on 2 discs, and you knew the game was big. And the PlayStation 2 version, it's all on 1 disc, it's a DVD, DROM, and the Dreamcast disc was like a GD-ROM and stuff. I don't know about the Nintendo GameCube version because I never played it, so I cannot say anything about it. After you beat the game, which will take a while for newcomers, you have this battle game where you can play as Claire in 2 costumes, Steve, Chris, and Wesker as well, and it's very similar to the Mercenaries mode in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. This was a fun Resident Evil game, especially since this was the first next-gen game in the franchise, especially on the PlayStation 2. So we knew Resident Evil was evolving to something better than ever. And also some copies that came out like on release day stuff also got the copy of Wesker's Report, which is an extra DVD that came with it and stuff. And like me, I got mine in the mail because like for some reason like I was we were subscribers to PlayStation Magazine at the time, so I got mine in the mail, so I got Wester's Report and stuff, and I'm not going to review Wester's Report because that's just like a little mockumentary and stuff. There's no point to review it. But I do like it and stuff. I like how they set it up and everything. And this would be a perfect game, but we have some negatives here, and there are quite a few. This game is very hard. You will die a lot, more than you should. There's no difficulty selection, so you're stuck with one difficulty selection no matter what. So be sure you save often. The dark lighting makes it hard to see anything, especially on a flat screen TV. It is very easy to get lost because you may accidentally miss an item, many keys, or something like that, and you're left wandering around what to do. Even when you find the item, just like you have much information on what to do, you just have to play a game of Guess Who once again. Ammo and health items are very scarce, and you can run out of them very quickly, but you will need them more than ever, so be sure to use them, but just be careful not to overdo it, is all I'm saying. There's a lot of backtracking to progress the game. It does not help much that the environments are so big you will get lost. When you cannot reset and return to the main menu. The only way to return to the main menu is by dying. And when you die, you also have this retry feature, which is pretty cool, but the retry feature, when you die, does not help much. It'll put you right back at the latest point in the game you saved. So, it doesn't really help much. It would have been nice if you retried right before you died and stuff. And some of the enemies are hard to hit with the certain weapons like the bats and stuff. And some of the voice setting is not very good. Some long load times there. There's only one ending this time. There's no multiple endings, which is weird, because I was the first there. I'm sure Resident Evil 2, like, you couldn't depict with any, but it had 4 scenarios, so that was different there. And Resident Evil 3 and had 2 endings, but still. It felt worth it, though. But the only one ending there, no matter what. There's not much replay value and extras when you beat the game. Just get the battle game, get like the rocket launcher, and that's it. No extra costumes or anything. In the GameCube version, it's no exclusive content at all. At the time it was released, it wasn't really much difference to it. And the HD Remastered ports have swapped controls and stuff like that. They do have a reset feature, but there's bugs and glitches and stuff. Don't bet a Silent HD collection and stuff. It's still a fun game though. Final thoughts: if you really enjoyed Resident Evil and want your fix on the PlayStation 2, this is the way to go for sure, because this was the first game Resident Evil had on PlayStation 2, and it's definitely worth it for sure. I give Resident Evil code Veronica X an 8 out of 10. I know it's a lower score than the other games, but it was the best score to give it because of those problems. But it's still a fun game overall. So Jack, what'd you think of Resident Evil code Veronica X? I know I gave it a slightly lower score than the other games. What'd you think of it?
Well, Tony, I do like having to play as both Claire and Chris Redfield, but you're right, this game could have been better and those problems should have been ironed out.
Yeah, I know, Jack. It's not a bad game at all. It's fun, but those problems brought it down for sure. But it could have been better, but still an 8 out of 10 was the best score to give it.
Yeah, Tony, at least we can still consider it a game that is worth playing. So what is on the agenda next? I hear we have a remake coming up. Am I correct?
That's right, Jack. We look at the Resident Evil remake, first for the Nintendo GameCube, and then was ported to the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, the Xbox One, and it was on the Wii, and then it was also on the Nintendo Switch. So this remake was everywhere for sure. So this will be a treat for sure, because it's my first time reviewing a remake or anything like that.
Oh, sweet, the remake. I never saw you do something like this before. This should be interesting, but I must go now, Tony. That pumpkin patch is waiting to be guarded so far. So far, no pumpkins have been stolen or so, but you could never be sure. So I must go now, Tony. Take care.
You got it, Jack. Stay tuned for episode 7, part 6 of 7, where we're going to take a look at the Resident Evil remake, or Resident Evil 2002 remake, or so whatever you call it. How does this game fare? This is a remake of the first game. With the final next, all I can say is Tony, peace out, have a day, and see you all in my review of Resident Evil remake. Take care, everybody. Rest in peace,